Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the group. So it's been slightly different this month because I am approaching making secondary school decisions for my daughter. So there's been a lot of school tours going on, hence moving to an evening slot. But we will be back in morning slots from next week. So this evening, what we are talking about is really taking some time to acknowledge the difference that you make in the world. I think we often forget this, to really give ourselves that moment of recognition and acknowledgement that the work that we do really makes a difference in the world. It makes a difference to our students and to other people. Um, and I think there's many reasons why we perhaps don't do that. And I guess in some ways, the most obvious is that, hi, Victoria, that it can feel just really kind of big-headed, and egotistical to go, oh, I make such a big difference in the world. My work is so transformative and meaningful. And I think that that can really, because we don't want to feel like we're being particularly egotistical. And I think also we're probably, as yoga teachers specifically, really conscious of some of the yoga philosophy, which is valuable and important. So, when we're conscious about these ideas around ego, and keeping a certain sense of humility and perspective, and there's a lot to be said about that. Hi, Jill. But and there's also ideas about non-attachment and not just seeking praise, and so we're conscious of all of these things. But I think particularly as women anyway, that we tend not to blow our own trumpets that much. And then we add in some of these philosophical things. And then when you also add in, the very clear areas where there have been abuses of power to different degrees within yoga, which often is connected with that attachment to ego and feeling superior. So, we're so conscious of those things and go, I don't want to be that person, that we can forget to actually give ourselves the recognition and to remember, that our work is really powerful, really transformative. It makes a difference to other people. And to take a moment to really recognize that in ourselves. And even when we are better at giving ourselves kind of due credit, it often can be more along the lines of, maybe the things that generally society values. So, we might feel more comfortable saying, oh yeah, I work really hard. I'm dedicated, I'm professional. Those things may sit a little bit more comfortably. And again, sometimes we're encouraged to maybe exceed our boundaries and perhaps work too much, because that kind of gets the praise about putting in long hours, really grafting. So we might feel more comfortable about sharing that with other people, and maybe praising ourselves for those things, but not so much on how valuable our work is and what a difference we make in society. And so, there are some real benefits around doing this. So it's not, we're not trying to inflate our ego particularly. It's not about being a big show off, although, um, you might like to question why we even sort of call people a show off from time to time. Like, what is the judgment that's underneath that? Why is it wrong to say, hey, this is what I'm good at, and I just want to share that with the world? But there's a lot of benefits in taking that time to really kind of notice and acknowledge the change that takes place in our students and the impact that we have in the world. I think first and foremost, it's going to really help us value ourselves and our work. And that then infiltrates everything that we do. If fundamentally we don't value ourselves, nobody else is going to. So it's that kind of energy and aura that we want to bring to our work, that it can really enforce your confidence and help you to maintain your boundaries better. Like, when you're really clear about the value that your work has, then it makes it so much easier to charge appropriately. Hi, Siobhan. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, it really does make it much more manageable to hold our boundaries when we hold in mind, the real value of what we do. It's not just a fluffy hobby. It's not some luxury, but the things that we offer people through yoga can be life-changing. And I think we need to remember that. And I would really encourage you to start consciously observing the real changes that happen for people in your class, and to not minimize or undermine. Is like, but to really recognize what are the changes that you see in your students, maybe short term, maybe over long term. What are the changes that happen for them in terms of their physical well-being, in terms of maybe their range of movement, their strength, their stamina, maybe their balance is improving. There can be lots of physical things that we can notice. If we're working with cancer patients, again, you can see a lot of physical changes for the better from their yoga practice. But also, the changes around people's perhaps mental and emotional well-being, their state of mind, their ability to cope, their resilience, their approach to problem solving, their tendency to self-criticize. Like, there's so many things that we get to work through in a yoga class. I like to see our mat as a mirror in a way, and that it's kind of like, or a practice pad for life. There's so much in yoga that I feel can be a metaphor for life. When you first teach someone maybe a tricky balance, and you see like the mental, emotional kind of processing, and perhaps all the negative speak, like, oh, never be able to do that. Oh, that's impossible. I can't, I'm not good at this. All these things that we see, and then we gradually coach people through. And we see those changes. Hi, Catherine, good to see you. So, these are really important things, because it's not just about, they're more confident in doing a balance. They've learned a way to overcome a negative belief about themselves. They've learned that maybe there are things in life that they've assumed they could never do that they actually can. Like, what else does that apply to? So the knock-on effects can be really huge. And so when we start to really notice those positive changes in people and ask for feedback or have conversations, like find out what it is that people are getting from your classes. And this isn't just as a, like I say, to feed your ego or to, but you're getting really useful information about what's working for people and maybe why they're coming to your classes. And so not only is it giving us a much more kind of verifiable and solid foundation in, you know, our confidence in the value of what we offer, it starts to make it a little bit easier then to think about maybe what our particular angle or niche is within yoga and what we're offering, and how we might start to share that message with other people, or in other words, marketing, because that's all it is. It's just sharing what it is that you do. So rather than just saying, hey, I've got a yoga class and it's at 7 o'clock on a Wednesday evening, you know, when we start to talk about the transformation that people experience through the classes that you do, then other people are more able to put themselves or imagine themselves going through that process and the changes that it might make for them. So can really support your marketing, and it can really support you maybe fine-tuning your classes when you find out a bit more about what is it that people are getting from the class, what is it that they love. Then you could maybe focus on that a little bit more and enhance that a little bit more. Maybe ask them what it is that they would like to have more of in your classes. So there's lots there. It's also really useful for your students as well, when we really pay attention to those things, that we can start giving them feedback as well. You know, it becomes this lovely two-way thing that we then can say to our students, I've noticed, you know, this used to be an issue for you, and I've noticed now how you approach it in a really different way. I noticed how you don't look around the room comparing yourself to other people in the same way that you used to, or that your posture is much more steady. You know, you seem more grounded and centered. You know, it's really nice that we can give that feedback to people and let them know that we see the change, because that's a really lovely positive reinforcement for them. So this thing about us really kind of acknowledging the value and the power of the work that we do is going to be beneficial for your students, so that when we notice their changes, that they get that, you know, everyone likes a little bit of positive feedback from time to time, and that might open a conversation about what their goals are. And because this shifts with time as well, you know, the reason that people first come to a yoga class might not be the same reason that they're continuing with yoga 5 years later. You know, my reasons for practicing yoga have changed massively over the decades that I've been practicing. And you know, it's appropriate for different phases of life or what's going on for me. And I'm sure it's the same for our students too. So again, it's that two-way thing of just really stepping back a little bit and looking at the changes that you see for people. And I think, you know, we also just need to be realistic about the fact that we're self-employed and it's hard. You know, it's not a smooth ride year in, year out. There are ups and downs, and there are times that are really challenging, and we might question our life choices or why we did this for a job and not something that was just much more straightforward and secure or with a bigger salary or whatever. And so when we connect with that why, and when we connect with the value of what we offer, that's what connects us to our why quite often. You know, we see the benefit that it gives other people. And it's those things that can help carry us through those difficult times where we remember, okay, this might be difficult, but my work has meaning, it has value in society. There's a reason why I'm doing this, and because of the positive change I see in other people, the positive impacts. I'm making a difference. There is a point in what we're doing. And that is a hugely valuable thing to have as an individual. I have worked with a lot of very successful and very financially comfortable people, and not all of them are happy, because the ones where they don't have that feeling of, mission, purpose, value, if they don't feel the point to their work beyond achieving the next step, either in a promotion or in a salary, it's not feeding the soul in quite the same way. So we all need to have a sense of purpose, and that can be the thing that can get us through those sticky points where you might just hit a bit of a patch where you think, oh, that's it, I'm done. This is too hard. I'm not teaching anymore. I'm going to do something else. And I guess that's a whole other conversation, but it's normal that in a self-employed life, we all at times just hit those kind of painful barriers where we just want to give up. And that's why we need a support network, where you've got a listening ear, and also a little bit of a reality check of someone who knows what it's like. But this connecting in and recognizing the value of what you do can be the thing that can reignite the fire, can give a bit of strength to your determination, to solve whatever issue it is that's in front of you, because there is this purpose, there is this sense of, but I make a difference in the world and this is worth doing. I need to find a way to make it work for me. And of course, if teachers decide to do something else, then there's all of those students who are not being served. So that's why I do these talks around sustainable business, because I want us all to keep going and to thrive and to be more comfortable and to keep looking after people, and particularly for my mission around serving people with cancer. There's so many people who are living with or recovering from cancer that, we need an awful lot of teachers to be able to support all of those people. So, this kind of giving yourself the recognition for the change you make in the world is not about, I'm saying, massaging your ego or being a big show off or seeking praise or approval. It's connecting with the value that you offer and really feeling it for yourself. And when you really feel it for yourself, you can be much more anchored in the confidence in what you do, the value that it holds. And again, like I say, the confidence in holding your boundaries, because, we're often challenged with that in terms of maybe our pay or our working conditions. And I think when you hold that in your core, it's like, I offer something really valuable here, and you need to value it too. And so there's something, when we're really clear about the change we make for others, what is the value to somebody around, perhaps being free of back pain, of being able to sleep well, of feeling much more confident in themselves, in regaining some health. You know, all of these things are really important and potentially life-changing to people. And these are things that needs to be valued. So it's not just about valuing ourselves individually, but I think when we take that time to acknowledge the difference that we see in our classes, but also knowing this is happening in other classes too, in all of their own unique ways. And we start to value what we offer as an industry as a whole. And that becomes a bigger picture of all of us feeling a bit more confident and grounded in asking for a bit more recognition from, not necessarily from individuals, although obviously we need to have good boundaries around that too, but maybe within organizations, maybe with the NHS, maybe for people that we might potentially work for. So these bigger structures who may yet be unaware of the full range of benefits that yoga can offer, that we don't become apologetically asking for something, but rather there's that confidence of like, no, this is powerful, this is valuable, it's going to make a real change for people. So let's discuss how we can proceed from here. So there's all these different ways that it can start to filter through that's beneficial for us individually, for our students, and for us as a community of yoga teachers as well. And I wanted to finish today with a lovely poem, if I can do it without disconnecting. Let me see if I can bring that up on my screen. Let me just find that. So where did I have it? There we go, technicality stuff. Okay, so it's a poem that you have probably heard before. It's by Marianne Williamson. I'm just going to move that so I can read it. Okay, and it's called Our Deepest Fear, and it just feels like a really relevant thing for today. So our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So I thought that was a good poem to finish off with, and just that reminder that this isn't about ego, this is helping us liberate other people from, their own perhaps self-limiting beliefs and blocks. So the more that we connect with our value, feel comfortable with that, the more we shine with our own self-worth and confidence, the more we give permission for our students to do that too. So on that happy note, I'm going to sign off for now, and I look forward to connecting with you all next week. Take care. Have a lovely week.